What the hell is this? What am I looking at right now? What type of crossover do we have here? We've got Piers Morgan and Dillon Danis. Just when I thought the whole thing was over, I thought Dillon's dinner. Dillon Danis was going to stay silent. So before... Dillon's funny, like, he was extremely disappointed in that fight. But before we dive into this Piers Morgan interview, which I haven't watched, I was in bed last night and I was scrolling YouTube and I came across it and I was like, what the hell's going on? I need to react to this tomorrow. So I was ready to dive into some UFC content today, but it'll have to wait. I don't care, Volkanovski. Who are you? We're talking about Dillon Danis here. Anyway, I thought that Dillon had only put one tweet up since the event, but no, he's still being it's still being quite back and forth. I know Logan's fired a few shots at Dillon. Dillon's now fired quite a few shots, to be honest. So let me just show you. If we scroll up here, right, first off, this is absolutely hilarious. Jake Paul jumped into the Logan Paul and Danis brawl and immediately realised he wasn't built for that life. I'd just seen this. This is actually quite funny. Right? There's
Jake Paul in the midst of it.
He's like... That is hilarious. I love that. He also posted this clip, which, in all honesty, probably was the best shot of the entire fight.
The corner of Logan Paul said.
Nice right hook by Dillon Danis. That was about as exciting as it got right there. And this right here was the main tweet that Dillon Danis put up in response to Logan Paul's tweet. First off, Logan Paul wrote, honestly, nothing to be proud of. That dude sucks. A real cunt. I'm going to go back to living my life, but felt good to beat his ass for 6 rounds and let him embarrass himself. I've seen a few people say in the comments that Logan couldn't even knock out the guy who was dissing his wife for the better part of 6 weeks. And that's pretty true. You should go in there with a point to prove. And I kind of agree. How do you not knock out or finish the guy who was chatting that much shit about your wife for 2 months? And Dillon said, yeah, a jiu-jitsu guy with no boxing camp or coach made his debut. And that's true. He didn't have a coach. He didn't even have a boxing camp. He was out the night before. I didn't realise that. I'm not up Dillon's ass here, by the way. I'm just saying Logan Paul should have went in there with a bit more of a point to prove and really should have done his best to get him out of there. Maybe Logan Paul did try his best. And then that's just a testament to either Dillon Danis's toughness and skill and defensive ability, or maybe it's a testament to how bad Logan Paul really is. But Dillon said, I made me debut. I was never wobbled. That's true. He was never dropped. That's true. He had no standing 8 count. Also true. And he rocked Logan multiple times. He did catch him a few times. If I were Nina, I'd call off the wedding. You achieved nothing in your own sport. MMA next. Lads, I see what he's saying. He said here, where is everyone that said I wouldn't last around? Even Joe Rogan called me Ben Askren. I've seen a few people say that Dillon Danis has got the striking skills of Ben Askren. That is extremely offensive. Ben Askren is bad, and Dillon Danis is nowhere near as bad as Ben Askren. Dillon Danis was actually pretty okay at striking. He just didn't do enough. Now, Dillon also said UFC next. As I said in the other video, I don't think that's the case unless you go on an absolute tear in MMA in another organization. Maybe Dana White might grant Dillon Danis a little bit of an exception, but I can't see it happening personally. Dillon also said random drug testing equals right after the fight. Yeah, that's not random drug testing. Logan Paul isn't natty. This is hilarious. Logan Paul put a video up saying good beats evil. In what universe is Logan Paul good? It's more like bad meets evil because they're both scammers. Logan Paul said, I think Dillon perfectly embodies the problem with society. All shit talk behind the screen, no action, just another peasant running his mouth, contributing nothing towards this world but negativity. So happy I got to expose this clown. Dillon said, what did you prove? You didn't even tickle me. You backed out of an MMA fight against me. Oh yeah, they were meant to rematch in MMA. I know Logan Paul's done a podcast. I'm not sure if he's addressed that. I'll check that out in a bit. Everyone knew I'm not a boxer, but unlike others, I took on the challenge even with everything in your favor. Weight, steroids, rounds, rules, judges, referees, the list goes on. I won the war. I mean, I'm not sure about that. And look, we have got to accept that Dillon Danis didn't have a boxing coach. He didn't really have a boxing camp. Who was he fighting? Who was he sparring? We didn't see any footage of him. And he was out the night before the fight drinking, and he still didn't get knocked out or wobbled. So fair play to him on that front. But Dillon, I still felt like he could have done a little bit more in that fight. That's good. What a night. Logan Paul said about this video, you had me fooled too.
I know I'm gonna knock him out. I don't think he's ready for what I bring. Like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you. You're an easy fight.
He's taking his style. There you go.
And you think you're gonna win?
Yes.
It's like a bad 7th grade basketball score.
Okay, so you think you're knocking Logan out?
Of course, I'm gonna kill him, bro.
Danis just can't even touch Paul, really. Right there, swing and miss again.
And if you beat Logan, right?
Not if. When.
Now the crowd's turned back to Logan.
You know what's weird about boxing? It's so easy that you feel like you're not doing anything.
I don't think he forgives Dillon Danis anymore.
I don't think so either. The Zen moment has gone.
You know, he's not a real fighter.
Oh, that's way funny. That's way funny. I'll give it to Logan on that one. You ran from a jiu-jitsu guy for 6 rounds. Every interview, you bragged about knocking me out in the first, but guess what? You barely even touched me. Give me a proper boxing camp, and considering your pathetic unwillingness to fight, I'd obliterate you. Dillon, let's address the elephant in the room. Why didn't you have a proper boxing camp then? You didn't have a coach. You knew you had this boxing fight coming up. You knew the magnitude of it. You knew all eyes were on you. You were going on all these podcasts saying about how you're going to knock him out, you're going to end him, you're going to beat him. Why didn't you do these things? I'm still yet to see an actual reason for that. It's all well and good saying I didn't have a boxing coach, but that's on you. You can't use that after the fight and say that's the reason why you lost, or that influenced why you lost, because you made that decision. You made the decision to go out and have drinks the night before. Now Logan, even though it wasn't really an impressive performance, he still made the decision to have a boxing coach, have a proper training camp, get lean, get shredded, stay in shape, train his ass off. And I feel like Dillon might have been banking on the fact that he's a real fighter, and the fact that if it was MMA then I'd win, and it almost made him complacent, if anything. Right, now this is a little bit interesting. So a member of Logan Paul's security entered the ring early round 6. Should Logan be disqualified, that could be grounds for the disqualification on behalf of Logan Paul, but even still, if it is a disqualification, Logan Paul still won the fight pretty decisively, so what does it even really matter? He said the pussy ran for 18 minutes, and that's pretty much half the problem. Dillon had really good pressure. He pressured Logan Paul the entire fight, had Logan Paul backing up, but Dillon just didn't capitalise. And to be fair on Logan, when Dillon did try and throw something, he didn't really connect many punches with Logan a lot. Now we'll jump into the Piers Morgan interview now. Logan Paul said Piers violated him. Dillon Danis said, funny enough, he told me you declined his show in fear of criticism. Shocking. You are a pussy, mate. Right, so Logan declined the Piers Morgan interview. Let's react to this. I'm not going to pause much. We're just going to play.
Well, I'm delighted to say that he joins me now, speaking for the first time since Saturday's defeat. All right, well, Dillon, how are you, first of all?
Feel great. MMA is a lot harder than boxing, I'll say. Definitely on the body.
MMA is?
Yeah,
really?
A lot harder, yeah.
But you are wearing dark glasses.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
I wear glasses all the time.
Let's have a quick look.
I don't want to get Logan's going to have the satisfaction.
Come on. Let's see the eyes. There we are.
Not too bad.
I mean,
I was in a fist fight, but he looked worse. He was running the whole time. You know?
Yeah.
I wanted to fight. He was running. So I didn't really get the satisfaction.
Here's my take on what happened.
Yeah. Did you watch the fight?
You are a brilliant jiu-jitsu fighter. I mean, you're one of the best there's been, right? You're a world champion multiple times. You have huge credibility and respect for everything you've achieved in jiu-jitsu.
Thank you.
But when I watched what happened at the weekend with you and Logan Paul, I just thought, I don't know, it just seemed to me like, what was in that for you? I get it makes you more famous. Yeah. I get it made you a ton of money. I get all that. I get that from a marketing point of view.
Yeah.
Everyone thoroughly enjoyed the extravaganza.
Yeah.
But as a fighter with a great reputation, when you came away from it, what did you feel?
About the fight, it didn't feel like a fight. I feel like he was running away. Every time I tried to engage with him and try to get in there and like trade, he would run away, you know?
And you landed 9 punches in 6 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing
that's not great, is it?
It's because he was running, though. Even Connor was saying it. He was running. He was on the back foot the whole time. I was trying to push forward. I wanted to fight. I wanted to clinch. I wanted to fight. I was like,
you threw more fights at the end with the security guys.
That big.
Do you know what, though? Logan Paul running, that's a part of fighting. You could argue that that's Logan Paul controlling the distance, lateral movement, footwork. You could easily say that Muhammad Ali used to run because he used to back up a lot and people used to have to put the pressure on him and then Muhammad Ali would counter. Like, it's just about how you interpret it. Israel Adesanya does it a lot. He moves back. Not so much now, but there was a lot of fights where he'd move back a lot and then he'd get his back against the fence and then he'd use lateral movement to get out of there. That's fighting. It's on you to apply the pressure. And what are you going to do about it? At the end of the day, it's up to you to figure out that jigsaw puzzle that's in front of you.
Cool. Why did you suddenly dive in and do a jiu-jitsu move?
I wasn't actually trying to, but he was smart. He Vaselined his head up. So I guess he knew I was trying to go for his neck. But at that moment, I actually wasn't. I was just grabbing his head, and he just kind of shrugged me in the Vaseline. And he threw that punch, and then I up-kicked him.
But you dived in for his body, his legs.
Yeah, I was just kind of, at that one time, I was just kind of just messing around a little bit, you know, to let him know what a real fight is. Boxing's not a real fight. It's a half a fight. I want to fight him in a real fight where he shook my hand and said he was going to fight me in MMA.
Do you think he'll ever get in an MMA environment with you?
I mean, he shook my hand. If he's a real man, he should, you know. He didn't defend his fiance, in my opinion. If a man talks the way I did about your fiance, he should knock me out.
I wanted to mention that too, because I don't know him or his fiance. Nina Agdal, right? But
I think that's her stage name.
is it? But here's my point about that. Isn't it a bit cheap, Dillon, to go for the girl, not the man?
No, because
Really?
if it was someone else, yes, I would never do that. I would never cross those lines. But with the Pauls, they cross those lines all the time. His brother went at
Yeah, but should you stoop to that level?
in this fight, I think it made sense because it was all true. Everything was public. What she's saying, what she's suing me for is all fake. I didn't hack her phone. I didn't do any of that.
But have you ever
stuff.
done that to a jiu-jitsu opponent?
No.
No, you
I wouldn't
wouldn't.
have done it to even, like, if I was talking about a regular fighter's wife, I would be like, oh, the guy's an asshole. Well, people know this is true. People know her past. It's all out there. So everything was public. And I was
You know what I mean, though? You're like I say, you're a world champion fighter.
Yeah.
It just seemed a little bit
But the
demeaning
one
to
thing
me
is
to
too-
target the woman, not the guy.
In this boxing match, he's 0-2. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. What are we gonna sell our boxing skills? No, I'm a promoter. So I wanted to make people watch this fight, and it did over 1.3 million views. So
How much money did you make from it?
A lot.
You haven't said how much.
I don't want to say a number, but a lot of money. A lot of money.
So 1.2 million pay-per-view buys, that's really good. And then me and my cousin calculated the gate alone. If you was to do an average ticket price of £300, looking at like $6 million gate, he's probably walked away with a few bob off this, more than he's made in MMA, and probably will make for a long time.
Money. But I should have been the paper. I should have got the pay-per-view.
I mean, you did actually say that if you lost, you would give.
Right there.
money. But I should have been the paper. I should have got the pay-per-view.
Oh, so he said I should have got the pay-per-view. So maybe he didn't get the pay-per-view points.
I mean, you did actually say that if you lost, you would give your share of the purse. In fact, we got a clip.
We never shook hands.
Well, here we
though.
are.
We never shook
Here's
hands.
a clip.
Yeah.
I bet I knock you out.
How much?
I don't care. Don't matter. I made a bet to you.
What was it?
It said if I win, I had to be the best man at your wedding.
Okay.
Okay.
And if I win,
Yeah.
I get your entire purse.
Sure.
Sure. All right. Well, that's pretty unequivocal. So, Dillon.
What? Okay, I did say when I was doing the reactions to that face-off, none of this is ever in contracts though, so no one will ever really follow through with it. Even when Tyron Woodley said that he was going to get "I Love Jake Paul" tattooed, it wasn't a real tattoo because like a month later it was scraped off. Maybe it was and he actually got it removed, but no one ever follows through with these little silly bets.
Here we are.
And you'd be a fool to do so, a fool to actually follow through with that type of stuff.
A large checkmate payable to Logan. But what we don't know.
We actually are
actually
making
don't
an
know the
appeal
amount.
though, so it actually might be a win for me because he punched me on the ground.
Right,
So the appeal I might be the winner.
But if we were to put a figure in here, what are we looking at?
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million
Yeah.
pounds or dollars?
Dollars.
$1 million US.
Yeah.
That's your
Definitely.
cut.
Yeah. I mean,
Is that your biggest ever payday?
in fighting, yes, for sure. Yeah, MMA doesn't pay that well. That's why after this, I'm going to the UFC. I want to go to the UFC. I think the UFC now will see my potential in selling fights and everything like that. So
See, that's the bit I get. I think you're a smart marketing guy, right?
I came up under the best.
Yeah, this has all been a very smart marketing play. I get that. I mean, I went down to see your mate Conor McGregor fight Floyd Mayweather, and it was a fascinating thing to watch.
Yeah.
I never actually thought he could beat Floyd Mayweather, but
He did great.
But for a few rounds, he went toe to toe with him, and it was really interesting
did.
to watch.
He did really
and it
good.
was a massive success financially for both of them. So I do get the exhibition kind of nature of this.
It's interesting because you could argue that Conor McGregor fighting Floyd Mayweather was the beginning of the downfall of Conor due to that payday and due to the fact that he lost that karate style, that in and out, light on your toes style, and took a little bit more of a boxing approach. Will it be the same for Dillon's Danis? He's had his big payday and that's where he's going to peak.
But it's not real fighting, is it?
No, it's not. In my opinion, it's not. If me and you go into a street fight, we're not going to be like, hold on a second, let's go get these gloves and throw it on and box. We're fighting. And he knows I would strangle him unconscious within 30 seconds in a real fight. That's why he didn't do the real fight. In MMA, the bag was bigger than the boxing bag, actually. So he turned that down. And
What would happen if you fought him in MMA?
It wouldn't last more than a minute.
How would you take him out?
I would play with him. I could take him down, mount him, and literally slap him around, and just it would be embarrassing. Actually, it'd be so fun.
Do you think any boxer? Funny enough, I did Celebrity Apprentice.
Yeah.
I actually don't think it would be in less than a minute because Logan Paul can wrestle. I think he'd be able to have decent takedown defense against Dillon. Also, Dillon has fought some low-level MMA competition and his fights were longer than a minute. And Logan Paul can fight. He can box. He can keep the distance well. He's got good footwork for the most part, and he can also wrestle. So, do I think Dillon Danis would win in an MMA fight? Well, yeah, logically, yes, of course. But I don't think it would be under a minute. And also, for those who were like, "Ha, you got the prediction wrong," I said the entire build builds up. Logan Paul is the logical decision. Logan Paul's going to get it done. I even said on the night, if you're following me on Instagram, which you should be, I even said right before the fight, I'm rooting for Dillon, but Logan Paul's going to get it. It's probably going to be Logan Paul. But come on, Dillon. I was just thinking with my emotions.
With Lennox Lewis.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
Tito Ortiz.
Yeah.
The UFC guy.
But these boxers think they can fight. They're
Well,
all
it was actually very interesting. So we got talking one night, because every night you do these long hours, and we're sitting there talking together. And I said, what will happen with you guys? And I got them 2 sets of boxing gloves, and they sparred in the room, right?
Oh, definitely Lennox Lewis would be.
And it was fun. Well, they both agreed that if it was straight boxing, Lennox would win.
Yes.
Right? He's one of the great world heavyweight champions of all time. But they also both agreed that if it got into Tito's world of UFC, he would win. Because he would get Lennox down, and Lennox would
exactly. These guys don't know what they're doing. And Logan tries to act like he...
Would you beat any boxer, do you think?
Oh, all of them. Probably, I could probably do it in the same night. Like KSI, Logan, Jake, I could probably do back.
What about the elite boxers, actual
easy,
top boxers?
easy. The only one that ever wrestled, I think, was Terrence Crawford, but I don't think he has like a serious wrestling background. But the jiu-jitsu is too hard to learn. That's why these influencer boxers, they don't do MMA because
What
it's
about
way too
Mayweather and his...
It just wouldn't work because there's too many skills to learn. Boxing, it's more digestible. It's a bit more accessible to the masses. The audience know that it's just two people punching each other in the face. If I had my choice to fight in one of these influencer things and I could choose between boxing, MMA, or kickboxing and Muay Thai, I would choose the one with more weapons, certainly. I wouldn't choose boxing. I'm not a boxer. I have never, ever in my entire life solely trained boxing. But bringing it all together, kickboxing, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, that's my game.
What about Mayweather at his peak?
Oh, easy.
You would?
Easy.
Yeah,
easy.
yeah, of course.
He doesn't have power. The hard thing with the dangerous thing about a boxer for MMA guy is someone that has a one-punch shot. We saw this in the first UFCs. Once you shoot in, it's over. You need to land that one shot, and it's very hard. So once I get a hold of someone, it's over.
Yeah.
You weren't happy that Drake, the rapper...
Yeah, we're friends too. That hurt me.
Well, he bet on Instagram $850,000 on your opponent to knock you out.
He lost. Yeah,
because he didn't knock you out.
Yeah, and me and Drake were friends, so I didn't like how he supported Logan.
Have you been in touch with him?
No, he has a new number now. But
Really?
he posted a story saying like.
So he bet against you. He's ghosted you. What's going on there?
I know, it's messed up. I don't know. Hopefully he watches this and he'll reach out to me.
Well, what's your message to Drake if he's watching?
Oh, should have bet on me.
Camera's there.
I don't know. I thought we were friends, Drake. That's messed up. Logan's not one of us. We don't sue. We don't do lawsuits. Drake is a gangster like me. We don't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Drake would have sided with me, in my opinion. Logan's I don't know, he's a pussy. Can I say that on here? I don't know.
We're called Uncensored for a reason.
Okay, yeah, he's a pussy. He wanted to sue off. This is what he wanted. He didn't want to fight. He wanted me to pull out this fight, and he learned it was real when he did that water ball and he threw at me, and I hit him with that mic, cut his face open. I gave him almost like a concussion. So he knew it was real. He knew he's not a real fighter. He's not a real. He's an entertainer. He's not built for this.
Is that good for the fight game generally to have these kind of YouTube influencers?
I don't like it. I don't like it.
But you've taken part in it, and it's benefited you.
Yeah, because
if you're Logan Paul, you're like, hang on a sec. You say you don't like it. You just came in and made over $1 million.
Yeah, because Logan fought Mayweather, so he has credibility. But sometimes you go around these events, you see these like TikTok kids walking around like they can fight, and I'm like, come on, dude. Like,
yeah.
It's kind of I don't like it either. I'm like, come on. And it's dangerous. Boxing's not a gentle sport. You got to be careful. So like these like tag team things they're doing and stuff, it's very dangerous.
What would happen if you got in the ring with Conor?
I wouldn't. That's one of my best friends. I don't talk about training partners, So.
You've trained with him?
Oh, I trained with him for almost 10 years.
And how
now.
serious has he got?
Oh, Conor trains very, very hard, and he hits very hard, and he takes it very seriously.
Have you ever knocked him out?
No. I don't see, like, real martial artists don't talk about training. That's the thing about me, and these guys are different. I'm a real martial artist. I've been training since I was 15, and we go by the code of martial arts. You don't talk about training.
Would you ever fight him though?
No, never.
Yeah, real martial artists understand that you don't. Whatever happens in training stays in training, because one person could have a great day and the other person could have a bad day. It's been plenty of times I've been training or sparring, and I am, let's say, objectively better than my opponents, but they just piece me up, and I'm just having an off day. Now, if that person went round and told everyone, "Oh yeah, I beat up Shaun Jones in sparring," it's like, well, yeah, but we all have good days and bad days. I beat you up last week. Are we counting now? Are we counting who's winning? Sparring is meant to serve the purpose of getting better, sharpening your tools, working on your technique, using each other, and being a team. Although fighting is an individual sport, there's still team aspects to it. That's why the phrase good sparring partners exists, because it's hard to find them. A good sparring partner is someone who helps you sharpen your game and you sharpen theirs.
Would you ever fight him, though?
No, never. That's
I
one
mean,
of
if
my
you're
best
Dana
friends.
White, you're thinking now with all your profile.
I think me and Khabib or me and Islam would be bigger. You know, I mean, obviously Connor's one of my best friends and my idols and a mentor.
You
to
couldn't
me.
beat Khabib, could you?
Oh,
No one's ever
easy.
beaten Khabib.
I would beat Khabib.
But no one's beaten him.
Yeah, well, he hasn't fought me
Why would you be able to beat him?
because my jiu-jitsu is too good. And I'm saying this now. All the stuff I've ever said, I'm willing to go prove it. Give me anybody.
Are people, look, I'm not as expert as you are in all the sort of
My
different...
jiu-jitsu is too good for these guys.
Well, I was going to ask you, if you are as good at jiu-jitsu as you are,
Yeah.
who do you most fear?
I don't fear no one. You know, I want to know what's going to happen.
In your world,
And
who
look
do
at
you-
me. I just went and did a boxing match.
In the UFC, for example,
Yeah.
what type of fighter would you least want to come up against?
I swear, I would fight all of them. I would fight Shaun Jones. I'm not scared. I did a lie detector test.
Think you could beat him?
I did a lie detector test, and it showed that I believe that. And I think if you're a fighter and you don't believe that, then you're not a real fighter. You know, I believe I could beat any man in the world. So.
And it's very easy for us to sit here and be like, he's delusional, as if he thinks that. Oh, my word. Yeah, I agree with that. But we have to accept that this is how all fighters think. You have to have utter delusional belief in yourself as a fighter, especially to reach the top. I guarantee if you've done the same lie detector test across all the other UFC fighters and asked them the question, can you beat Shaun Jones? A lot of them would say yes, and it'd come up as them telling the truth. That doesn't mean that they can beat Shaun Jones. It just means that they have true, utter belief in themselves. That's a sign of a dangerous man right there. Someone who knows they're not lying. If it would have came up after him being asked that question that he was lying, then you know he hasn't got confidence. He's lying, he's putting on a facade. But he said, yeah, I believe I can beat Shaun Jones, and it came up as the truth. Regardless if you like Dillon Danis or not, there is something to be respected in that.
I think these guys aren't that good, and I'm willing to go prove that. So go put me in the UFC and give me Islam first fight.
So if Dana White is watching this,
Yeah,
what's your message to him?
Sign me. Let's do it. Give me the biggest fight. Give me anybody you want. Just don't send anybody you want back. I'll beat them all. And I want to prove what I'm saying is true, because it pisses me off that people don't believe in me, you know? So I want to go out there and I'll fight any one of them.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I had to consult my middle son, who's a bit of an expert in you. He loves you.
Oh, he likes me? Oh,
Yeah, and he
that's
said,
good.
Dad, don't get sort of distracted by what happened with this kind of
It's a
thing that
boxing
happened
one.
with Logan. But he said he is one of the greatest jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
exponents in the world.
And how many jiu-jitsu guys would go and do a boxing match?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's what he said.
Yeah. And I went out there. I didn't get wobbled. I didn't get a standing 8 count. Every single one against.
And now you're 10 times more famous than you were 2 months ago.
Exactly. And I didn't do it for the fame.
Dillon Danis, he's an MMA fighter, but only 2 fights. 95% of his experience was done in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. We have to somewhat respect that as well. I do believe he didn't look great in this fight. There's certain aspects of Dillon I don't like, certain aspects of Logan I don't like, but we do have to give credit here. No one from the purely Jiu-Jitsu world is coming over and boxing. There's also no boxers coming over into the MMA world, and that's one thing, regardless of who you are, you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, and you do have to respect it.
No, I thought Logan would be a better promoter. He was terrible at it. I carried this whole promotion on this card.
I agree.
Better than Tommy, did better than KSI. They didn't give me any pay-per-view points. They treated me like shit. Everything was against me. The steroids that he was taking EPO. The refs were on his side. He picks the refs. He picks the judges. He picks everything. You know, so I was just handicapped the whole time.
He still beat you.
Man, that's crazy as well that he didn't get any of the pay-per-view points. And people were mainly invested in the Dillon Danis and Logan Paul fight. That's insane.
He still beat you.
Yeah, but he beat me in a boxing fight.
Right.
You know, so if he beat me in an MMA fight,
But
then
even that's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? Come on.
nah, beat me in a real
He's a
fight.
YouTube influencer.
He boxed for 5-7 years. He couldn't have rattled me. He was trying to say he would knock me out in a second. Every MMA guy, Joe Rogan, he's gonna get knocked out in a minute. He's gonna get knocked out like this. Look what happened to Ben Askren. He didn't do anything to me. You know, maybe a couple smacks.
Do you think you'll ever get in the jiu-jitsu world with you or MMA?
Never, no. I don't think so. I mean, he shook my hand. See how much of a man he is. So I'm ready to do it. I can do it tonight. I didn't take any damage, so I want to take a fight in the next 30 days. I'm ready to go.
Dillon Danis, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Fighting
fun.
talk.
How did Dillon come across there? What do you think? I actually think he came across pretty alright, to be honest. For the most part, there's a few points that I agree with. He did tweet a few things that didn't make sense, like the way he didn't get a boxing coach and he didn't do an actual full fight camp. The fact that he went out the night before. Yeah, they're your decisions. You made that stupid decision, so therefore that contributed towards you losing. You're basically saying, I didn't try. It's not Logan's fault that Logan was evasive and on the back foot and using lateral movements, using his footwork and backing up all the time. If a fighter's doing that, it's kind of on you to adjust your game plan. Pretty respectable interview. Piers had a little bit of fun with him with the check. There you go. Comment down below how you think Dillon came across in this interview. Make sure you subscribe because we're going to be dropping a few videos on the build up to UFC 294 this weekend. Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev. We also got Hamzat and Kamaru Usman going at it. I'll probably drop that video tomorrow. Make sure you tune in. Keep sending me your video suggestions on Instagram. I appreciate all the love and support and I'll see you tomorrow.